The last sentence in your book is the most important sentence in the book. I strongly believe this. I know a lot of people say that the most important sentence is the first one or the first paragraph or the hook or anything like that, but I am a true believer that the last sentence in your book needs to be the best one because this is what is going to leave your readers with something. Is this the emotion that you wanted the book to culminate to? And so I got thinking about this of what about some of the greatest books of all time? What did they do with their last sentence? And so we right here are going to be tier ranking from a couple of books that I've read that people would consider all-time classics, and I'll be talking about them. So our tiers today are from bottom to up, ruined the book. That reading this last sentence kind of ruined the book for me. I'm like, what? That's not the image that you want. Above that, is that it? Like, really? That's the sentence? That's what you decided to leave with? A letdown, like, eh, you know, good. Like, all right, that ends the book. Okay, man, it doesn't ruin your thoughts of the book. You don't really think about the ending ever again. You just really think about the story itself. But good. Wow, like, wow, yeah, what an ending, right? Leaves you changed. This is when like the ending itself is what you're thinking about for years, days, months. It's like wow. And then better than most books. That this one sentence in itself is better than most books in the world. And I don't know if any are actually going to reach that tier, but I know that there are some books out there that do that. So here we go. We have them all down here. They're all kind of screenshotted, so ignore how kind of dumb they are. But the last sentence of George Orwell's Animal Farm, the creatures outside looked from pig to man and from man to pig and from pig to man again, but it already was impossible to say which was which. Wow. Starting off super strong. If you guys have never read Animal Farm, it is a great book and a one that is, I think, applicable of all times of human greed and getting up over each other and the ability to say we're working together, but really only highlighting yourself. And in this book, you know, I guess I'll spoil these books, whatever. They're old. If you haven't read them, you haven't read them. That the animals are trying to one up the humans, but the pigs switch sides. And this end of the sentence is just a great way to show that is it the pigs who have become human or the humans who have now become pigs. I think that this is we're starting off super strong, leaves you changed. Like you read this and this will just affect the way you see the world and the way that you think about the world. Next one, The Catcher in the Rye. All I know is I was oh. The last sentence of The Catcher in the Rye. All I know is I sort of miss everyone I told about. Everybody I told about. Catcher in the Rye, one of the most famous coming of age stories. Not one of my favorites, but I'm glad I've read it. And the main character just goes through so much. We're really diving into his mind, his world, what it means to grow up, be human. His little sister comes in the end, and I think this is a sweet ending. That it really is the people that make us want to live or not want to live. And so I don't think this is doing anything incredible, like nothing crazy, but I'll put in, good. All right, I feel like the messages of the story came across and you get what you get. Um, this one is from A Brave New World. Southwest, south, southwest, south, southeast, east. And I am not a Brave New World defender. I actually don't like that book. And I think this is one of the reasons is you read it and you're like, that it? That was the whole crescendo of the book. That's it. That the last sentence right there is just a bunch of directions, and I get it means more and like all that, but like I don't know. I want something with a little bit more punch to it. So Brave New World, we'll put it in that. Is that it? Oh, we got a long one. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. But when next morning came, there was already steady rain falling, so thick that when you looked out of the window you could see neither the mountains nor the woods, nor even the stream in the garden. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, perfect book in my opinion. I think that there's nothing better you could do with a kid's fantasy than this book. And with the kids, again, spoiler, coming back to the real world, but being trapped in a haze of like, wow, they're so much, there's so much out there. There's a whole world that they just came back from, but in their real world, there's a haze of you can't even see the woods. They're in a house made by man, trapped in a haze. Um, it just I think I'm gonna put this in leaves you changed. No, you feel so much for these kids. We'll put it right here. Leaves you changed. I don't think it's as good as Orwell's, but I think the imagery of knowing that there's a different world out there, but not even seeing the better side of your own world is great. Is great. The next one, the last sentence of the Great Gatsby. So we beat on, boats against the current, bore back ceaselessly into the past. Great Gatsby uh, is a book not really about Gatsby, and might get some flack for that, but it's really about Nick. Like, Nick's the main character. Gatsby is side character, antagonist, and so the last sentence being about Nick makes sense in the context of us of the story. And Gatsby's dead, so it can't be about him. But it just feels too like we read this story and we feel so much that really some dinner parties have the weight that they do. That the story is putting way more weight on some dinners than actually some dinners do. And I think that this last sentence also brings back kind of that heightened excitement. So it's like, like there's so much here, but like, kind of time moves on. Is what it is. Like, I don't know. And I get that the Gatsby is like not that, he's kind of is what he is. But I think it's kind of a letdown. I really do. I think that a final sentence could be better, and maybe it's only because I want it to be better, not necessarily because it would be better for the story that the Great Gatsby is trying to say and what it means and the morals and the point of view that it's trying to give. But I think it's a bit of a letdown. All right, the Call of the Wind wakens the feral. Furrin strain. Um, kind of let down. I don't know. I get that it's poetry. It's trying to say something, but it's really not doing too much for me. The Call of the Wild is just one of those great books that you read that all boys should be reading. But when you get to that, Awakens, which is kind of fun. So okay, it's a little bit more poetic than that. I'll put it in good, but it's not doing much. It doesn't wow you or leaves you changed. All right, the last sentence of Dorian Gray, Picture of Dorian Gray, another incredible book that everyone should read. It was not until they examined the rings that they recognized who it was. Brilliant storytelling. What a way to end it. The picture of Dorian Gray is about Dorian Gray, but not giving him the final sentence is just poetic justice and perfectly just encapsulates what this book is talking about, and the picture that it's painting of a man who's so obsessed with himself doesn't even get the end of his last sentence, the last sentence of his book. That's a wow. You read that, you go, whew, what a book, what an ending. It's just incredible, incredible. I love it. It's a wow ending for sure. Let's see here. The last sentence of The Lord of the Flies. All right. It's a classic. Some would say. Some would say a pretty good classic. The last sentence of The Lord of the Flies. Ralph wept for the end of innocence, the darkness of man's heart, and the fall through the air of the true wise friend called Piggy. This sentence is doing a lot. This is like the end of a research paper. It's like, here's what the book is about: innocence, darkness, and my friend Piggy. So I can give it that it's trying. Uh, the book, I don't think the book is right. First of all, with its moral, uh, framework and compass and the way that things go. I don't think the book is correct in those. So I think that this is like a okay, good. Like, you read the book and it's blatantly in your face of what's going on, so you don't miss any of these themes while reading the book. And so you get to the end of the book, and all right, that's what the book was going for. And if you agree, then I think if you read this book, you're like, wow, just children, just how dark even children can be. Then I think you'd read this and be a little bit more, wowed by it. But reading it, you go, all right, yeah, I get it. Kids on an island, they do evil stuff, whatever. Then it's just like, good. All right, Charles Dickens. I just recently read this one actually, and for Christmas time, and I loved it. It was the first time I've ever read it. Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, every one. Wow, just man, tearing up just thinking about it. Like for such a broken man, uh, to change in such a powerful way that he can go from hating everyone around him, uh, to having, God bless us, bless those around us. As a believer, that this is the heart of God. This is what God died on the cross for us, to change our broken heart of stone into one of forgiveness and love and change. And this might be controversial, but I think that's better than most books. I think that sentence right there will stand the test of time forever. Will always mean something. Will always touch the heart in such a profound and spiritual way that speaks directly to our soul. And if a book speaks directly to your soul in just a sentence, if just a sentence does that, that's better than most books. All right, less sad ones. The final sentence of The Giver. One of my all-time favorite books, actually, but I picked this because I don't like the last sentence. Behind him, across vast distance of space and time, from the place he had left, he thought he heard music too. But perhaps it was only an echo. A little bit of cheating. Apparently, Google didn't know this, but perhaps it was only an echo is the sentence, but it's fine. Um, when I first read this book as a teen boy, I was like, that can't be it. That's it. Like, whoa, where's the ending? What happens? Like, do they win? Do they lose? I wanted to know. Growing up, I still don't love it. I can more understand what the author is going for. I've read more books that have ambiguous endings, and so I can think about it more and talk about it. And did they win? Did they lose? Isn't really what the book is about. It's about humanity, and is it right to have harsh emotions to pair with the good ones, or is it better to just get rid of all evil? Is it better to get rid of all evil? So now having read the book a second time as an adult, I still think it's good. Like, it's fine. Uh, there's still a part of me that loves a conclusion ending. Something a little bit more concrete, but it's good. You just read it and you go, oh, okay. And then you can think about it and talk about it, but it doesn't wow you or anything, or leave too much to be desired. All right, our last one for today is from The Hobbit, perhaps my favorite book of all time. Thank goodness, said Bilbo, laughing, and handed him the tobacco jar. You know, J.R. Not J.R.R. Tolkien. Not J.R.R. Tolkien. Uh, it's just a master with words, with storytelling, with worlds, with language, and having such a simple sentence. Half of me is mad. Half of me is like, that we did that whole journey, all of it, like the dragons, the goblins, the ring, just everything, and it comes down to, oh, haha, thank goodness, and handed him the tobacco jar. Like, it almost feels like the Great Gatsby in that regard of, like, we wanted so much, and we saw this hobbit go through so much, and he didn't change in any of it. Like, he's still just like kind of go lucky, tobacco smoking hobbit. So I think it is handled better than The Great Gatsby in that it's not trying to be too poetic. But I don't think it's wowing you. You just get to the end, you're like, wow, what a good book. Great book. But the sentence in itself isn't doing anything too much for you. So here we go. There is my classics, last sentence, and what I think about them. Let me know down in the comments if I should do this again, or what books I should rate the last sentences for. A Christmas Carol, better than most books, and Brave New World, not the best sentence ever. So there we go. Let me know what you think. Have a good one.